This mutation is called Portal Power, and it is being played on Void Thrashing. We have two mutators active. We have Power Overwhelming, and we have Void Rifts, both really nasty mutators. So, yeah, this is going to actually suck, because Void Rift mobs that spawn also have the Power Overwhelming buff, so they can also cast abilities, and as soon as the Void Rift starts to spawn, which is around the 2-minute mark, it is going to be a complete slugfest. So you can see over here, Abathur has put down a few of the toxic nests in a straight line, and is making a spore crawler here to be able to have a little bit of a head start when it comes to the biomass buildup. So once this spore crawler is done, there's also Roach over here that's already ready to pick up this biomass. So Roach is just going to stand back, and there's just going to be a little bit of luring done with the with these toxic nests. So you can see over here, manual detonation of the nest instantly takes out a lot of the units, and there is going to be again a little bit more with the stalkers. And now that all that biomass has been picked up, this Roach is going to go in and just pick up whatever biomass has been left, and there's now a little bit more, one last zealot left over, and just gets cleaned up by this biomass here. So there is a Roach on this side. And again, just wants to keep clearing a little bit of this, and now we have our first Void Rift, which again has no answer. So there is going to be a bunch of toxic nests over here. Zealots do aggro the toxic nest, but they see the Roach over here and end up dying to the toxic nest instead, which is actually really good for Abathur here. And that Roach is going to be completely nullified by the existence of the point defense drones, because his Dax can't actually deal any damage. So he's just going to keep luring more stuff here, picks up some of the extra biomass on this side, and on here we can see there are already some units that are coming out of the Void Rift that are harassing the enemy, the player bases here. But the Brutalisk has come out now, and is going to start cleaning up this the Void Rift over here. Having one Brutalisk out already gives Abathur a lot of mobility combined because of the deep tunnel ability, so that's going to be very useful for Abathur. There is a Void Rift here next to the Void Thrasher, but Ally needs a little bit of help, so Abathur sends his Brutalisk over to just clean up whatever's left. And now he is going to clean up this last Void Rift with his Brutalisk if he chooses to see it, but apparently he's chosen to ignore it and just pull some more mobs towards these toxic nests. Next Void Rift does end up spawning, and there's another one down also next to the Allies base on this side, but this Void Rift does end up going down, and there's a Void Rift over here. That Void Rift as well has spawned a Zealot that ends up killing that Spore Crawler that was the hero that ended up getting all the biomass for Abathur. But that Void Rift has also gone down, been cleaned up by the Brutalisk, and that Brutalisk ends up clearing this whatever units were spawned from that Void Rift. But as you can see over here, there is a bunch of Marauders and stuff that are spawning. Stukov has already built a few bunkers, so he's able to lock down a little bit of the base over here. The attack wave does get killed off by one of the toxic nests that were spawned. So over here now, Abathur has deep tunneled his Brutalisk over and ends up cleaning up that Void Rift on that side. There are some drones on my base. Oh, that might have been a miss rally there from Abathur, but that is okay. That Roach is getting completely nullified because of that point defense drone, but now it's free to pick up some of the extra biomass on the ground. There is a new Void Rift set that has spawned, so deep tunnel across here, and completely clears that Void Rift. There is another one on this side as well, but Abathur needs to get some more biomass on his Roaches over here. He's picked up a total of 200 biomass. That's his second Brutalisk out, and that second Brutalisk out, again, is going to be a huge power spike for Abathur. And again, clearing up these Void Rifts is going to be it's going to be really important, because otherwise these Void Rifts will start getting really nasty. Brutalisk is starting to push on this side, and there is an infest structure that gets casted on one of the buildings here, and that will weaken a little bit of the enemy defenses, especially that photon cannon and some of these stalkers. Actually, the Broodlings might get a surround on these stalkers and end up killing them all together. Brutalists are going to be focusing down this Void Thrasher, and this Void Thrasher goes down now. These two Brutalists now clean up that remaining gateway, and they are ready to go. I believe the Brutalists are going to move over here, and do they want to push in, or are they just going to drop down some toxic nests? Yeah, there are some more toxic nests that are being dropping down here, and that will be able to deal with the next set of attack waves. Next set of Void Rifts have spawned here, and Abathur has a Roach that is attacking this side, but deep tunnels over Brutalisk. Brutalisk is able to deal with that side. Another Brutalisk on this side. That Symbiote is poking away at that Void Rift, But and a storm goes down from the stalker here for Stukov. Apocalypse does get sent on here to this enemy base. The Brulus gets pulled back. It is taking a little bit of damage now. It's pulled back and saved. So far so good. The Brulus have been combined now. They are together. And there is a roach over there. There is a total of 300 biomass that has dropped for Abathur, but he's going to have to push into the side if he wants to get that biomass for his other roach. So he's probably not going to want to do that, but we're going to see what the plan is. Brulus is luring some more units on this side, luring into the toxic nest. And Stukov is already starting to push into this enemy base with the Apocalypse. Next attack wave has started to spawn here, and will be making its way down this ramp. So Abathur could probably get a lot of biomass just from dealing with that attack wave. So a little bit of an annoyance here from that hybrid. Gets a little bit. Void Rift conveniently spawns on top of the Brulus, so the Brulus take it out almost instantly. There are 2 more Void Rifts that have spawned, so Abathur will have to try and address that. So Brulus deep tunnels over here to deal with it, while this Brulus deals with the stack wave. And because it's on the side here, it does not get aggroed by the enemy units with the Archangel, so that's okay. There's another deep tunnel on this side that, unfortunately, now the Archangel has aggroed this Brulus. The Brulus is going to focus fire down this Void Rift over here, almost. There we go, there's a focus fire down the Void Rift, and then deep tunnels across, back into safety, and this Brulus is now safe. A few mens have gone down as well to try and keep that Brulus alive, so that's really good. Unfortunately, the extra roach needs to go ahead and pick up all this biomass that is sitting here. So there we go. That'll be enough biomass to get out the third Brulus, and now there should be some more Leviathans that should be spawning here. Stukov is slowly starting to push through, and his infested will eventually overwhelm the enemy bases here, but Stukov is short on a little bit of economy. He's just taking his command center now. Abathur is one basing over here, which is fine. Abathur does not really need the extra base here if he's going to try and go for an ultimate evolution build. So over here, 2 of the Void Rifts have gone down, and the last Void Rift that is left is this Void Rift on that side. But there is a deep tunnel across here by Abathur. Void Ray and the Stalker aggro that Brulus, but the Brulus focus fires down the Void Rift and just gets out of there. He is not interested in dealing with the rest of these enemy units. And now we have 3 Brulusks out for Abathur. All should be good here. He has enough deep tunnels to be able to get through, and I believe there's a point defense drone here that is just bugging the thing. Attack wave does end up moving over these toxic nests, which ends up getting wiped. All Abathur has to do now is just produce a bunch of Mulusks and get his Leviathans out, and that should give him a significantly larger power spike. There is a total of 584 biomass dropped on the ground, so that should give Abathur at least 2 Leviathans, and soon it'll be 600. There we go, that's over 600 biomass now. So Abathur can get 3 of his ultimate evolutions out, 3 Leviathans, and in addition to his Brulusks there. I think one of the Brulusks does end up going down there. No, it ends up deep tunneling across here to try and deal with these Void Rifts here. So there's 1, there's 2, and there's 3, and there's a 4th Void Rift on this side that the allies have to clear up as soon as possible. So one of the Brulusks deep tunnels over here to deal with this Void Rift. And there's another deep tunnel over here to clear up that Void Rift. That Void Rift is still cleared, and that one is available here, and that one's just going to be cleaned up as well. There are, as you can see over here, Void Rays and Banshees. So deep tunnel over by the Brulusks again. They do not really want to stay too long here. There is a Mulisk here that is somewhat harassing this Void Rift, but this Brulisk is on the way now to just clean up this Void Rift. And these 2 Void Thrashers are still alive, but they will go down to Stukov's army eventually if the Brulisk do not get there in time. So there is a deep tunnel across. I do not know where that Brulisk is. Okay, there it is. There's a Brulisk. Oh no, there it is. There it went. Just there was a bit of harasser into the enemy base. But now these Brulisks are here. This Mulisk is just going to go and pick up some of this biomass here, and it will become a Leviathan sometime soon. And this Brulisk just ends up clearing up the Void Thrasher with the Alexander. Alexander has already come down here, and now we have another set of Void Rifts that spawn. This one spawns right next to the Brulisk, so that ends up getting cleaned up. And we have one here in the middle of that enemy base, and that one's going to be a little bit more difficult to clear. But now we have a Leviathan out for Abathur. We have one Leviathan out of 3. Eventually these other Mulisks are going to come out as well, but we have a bunch of Queens here to just keep these Brulisks alive. Just give them a little bit more sustainability in combat, because they seem to be taking a little bit of a beating. 3 out of the 4 Void Rifts have been cleared. There is the Alexander that had spawned over here has significantly weakened the enemy defenders in that base, which is really, really good. Just taking out a lot of the high tech units here as it crashed down onto the ground. There is a Stukov's army now is moving forward here, which is going to be very useful for drawing aggro away from these Brutalisks as they try and push through and clear that Void Rift that is sitting and tucked at the back of the base over there. The Abathur army decides to turn around and deal with the next attack wave which is coming, because you really do not want to have that attack wave in your base. Stukov's army is just making a slow push, and eventually they will start clearing out that side. A lot of attack waves, a lot of immortals on this side, so Brutal is taking a lot of damage here. And the symbiotes, do any Brutals get lost? No, only the queens get focus fired down here. But that Brutals get pulled away just in time to keep it alive. One of those other queens end up going down, and I think the Brutals may take a little bit too much damage and ends up going down as well. But that attack wave has been cleared up. There are still 2 Void Rifts on the map, so very important to have these things cleared. And there goes down the Void Rift over here. Another Void Rift will be taken out over here, and Apocalypse comes down here to try and defend that attack that was spawning from the Void Rifts. Stukov's Infested have pretty much cracked this base. There are a few carriers that are left over here, but pretty much no big deal. There is a black hole that gets put down on this Abathur army here, but pretty much okay. Mutalisk is just picking up whatever is left of the biomass on this side, and just want to go and clear up this void. This Brutalisk is really low, so gets sent over here just to clean up this side. This Void Rift will end up going down. Another Brutalisk will probably get deep tunneled across. I'm not really sure if that Void Rift is going to get addressed. And Stukov's army has dealt a little bit of damage to that Void Rift, but that Void Rift is still up. It needs to go down really quickly. There was a misrally here by the Leviathans, and they end up going a little bit into the enemy base, but ends up weakening the enemy base a little bit more. But the whole goal was to try and take out that Void Rift. Unfortunately, the only thing that got taken out is that Brutalisk. There is still a Void Rift on this side and a Void Rift on here, which needs to be addressed by the players. Void Thrashers are still dealing a lot of damage to the temple, and there is now a Reaver, 2 Reavers, and a Siege Tank that will start to deal some damage to these Ultimate Evolutions. So far, a total of 2 Brutalists have been lost. We have 2 Brutalists and 2 Leviathans that are out at the moment, so there should be a little bit of DPS here coming out now for Abathur's army. One down goes that first Void Thrasher, and now there is 2 more Void Thrashers left to be taken out by Stukov's army and Abathur's army as well. There are a few bunkers and some siege tanks to be able to deal with this. This Void Rift will probably end up going down if the roaches do not actually choose to focus fire that down. Storm goes down on these roaches, and a Secret Missile gets focused down as well. 2 Secret Missiles actually on that 1 roach. Takes out those 2 roaches here, and now the Ultimate Evolutions are just going to be focusing down this Void Rift. This Void Rift has been taken out. There is 1 Void Rift on this side, which is going to be harassing Abathur's base. He needs to deep tunnel a Brutalisk across. Brutalisk does get irradiated over here, but I think it should be okay. So deep tunnel across here by the Brutalisk, and it'll be going to take out that Void Rift. That Void Rift will go down now, and the harass should hopefully stop. But there will still be a trickle of units on that side. It does end up taking down one of Abathur's buildings, which I believe is the Evolution Chamber. The Alexander goes down to try and protect Abathur's base here, and now it starts to get rallied towards its final base here. There are 4 Void Rifts that have spawned. Unfortunately, no one seems to be interested in taking out those Void Rifts. I think there is a rush for the middle of the map now to just try and clear this before the Void Rifts just get overwhelming. We have 3 Leviathans here and 1 Brutalisk so far for Abathur, and we have 1 Apocalypse here for Stukov, and they're able to take down that Void Thrasher. Is going to go down relatively quickly. There are still 2. Okay, there are 2 Brutalisks out now, so that's really good for Abathur. That should be enough DPS to be able to take out the rest of these Void Thrashers as well. Alexander has also joined in on the fun. Alexander ends up crashing because it has run out of its timer. There's a black hole that ends up being put down on this area, but now we have another Brutalisk that has also ended up spawning. There's a lot of biomass on the ground for pickup, so that Void Thrasher will go down as well. And there's only 400 HP left on the temple, and that other Void Thrasher is doing a lot of damage there. So that Void Thrasher gets taken out. Now there is a massive focus fire down from Abathur's army. That draws aggro away from the Void Thrasher, leaving the temple at 376 HP. But that Void Thrasher finally ends up going down, and there are more than 8 Void Rifts. I think there are about 6 or 8 Void Rifts on the map, but that is the end. That is a very nasty army, and That is GG.